Sometimes you know exactly what luxury watch you want. Other times you find yourself searching and searching for watches at your price point. It can feel like a struggle at times, but with this video, we're going to give you a great list of watches that are available under $10,000. Some of these are even under $5,000. It really just depends on the model. From dive watches to chronographs to dress watches, there's an option for everyone, no matter what kind of style you're looking to pull off with your watch, or if you want a watch that can be put in a lot of different styles, there is going to be a watch on this list for you. First off, let's talk about dive watches, and specifically, let's talk about the OMEGA Seamaster Diver 300M. I've got one on my wrist right here. By far the best bang for your buck when it comes to dive watches right now. You can pick up the OMEGA Seamaster Diver for $5,500 on metal and even less on rubber. This watch is a 42mm case diameter, making it wear a little large on the wrist, and it also has a 55-hour power reserve. Being a diver as well, it can dive up to 1,000 feet. Truthfully, if you want the best diver on the market, the Seamaster Diver is by far the best bang for your buck, and I haven't even talked about all of the James Bond elements and all the other amazing history that the Seamaster Diver has. Up next though, let's talk about chronographs. Now, obviously, the OMEGA Speedmaster is one that you need to consider. You've probably already done that though watching this video, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about something else outside of OMEGA and outside of the Speedmaster. Specifically, that's going to be the Breitling Navitimer B01 chronograph. Sure, this is less popular than the Seamaster, but it comes with an amazing history of its own, and on top of that, so many different styles. It's not just black and white, you've got black and white, but you've also got greens and blues and so much different color and dial options with the Navitimer B01. Let's talk about history though. The first Breitling chronograph was created in 1952, and it was actually set up to be a pilot's chronograph. And it did this incredibly well, becoming the official timepiece of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, a title it actually still holds to this day. As far as the specs go, this is the biggest watch on this list with a 46mm case diameter. Water resistance though is only 100 meters. That's fine, it's a chronograph and it's not a dive watch. And as far as the power reserve though, 70 hours of power reserve, meaning it's easy to wear this watch every other day and never have to worry about it stop being wound. Price though comes in at $9,000 to $9,500 depending on what dial and bracelet options you go with, but overall this is a great watch to consider if you are looking for a chronograph outside of an OMEGA Speedmaster, something with its own history, its own character, and a lot of different color options. However, when it comes to luxury watches, Rolex is really what everyone thinks of. It's the quintessential brand, and it's where a lot of people start thinking and learning about luxury watches. However, I would use caution whenever you're buying a Rolex for under $10,000 because you are going to be buying it used. The models we're about to recommend are used models, and sure, you can go buy something like a Datejust for under $10,000 on the used market, and everyone kind of knows that. That's more of the entry-level Rolex. But there are two Rolex models that aren't necessarily entry-level that you can purchase for under 10 grand. The first is the Rolex Air King 34mm. Obviously, this is a 34mm case diameter, and it's Rolex's pilot watch. Being 34mm, it's a far cry from the 46mm pilot watch in the Breitling Navitimer B01, making it way more wearable. This also, in my opinion, does kind of fit into a dress watch category. Some will disagree with that, but it looks great when you're wearing it with a suit or dressing up. Rolex, the smaller Rolexes fit great in that sort of an environment, and the Air King is no exception. There are also various dial and color options available with the Air King over the years, which is great if you're looking for a Rolex. A lot of times Rolex, you've got black, you've got white, you've got some very simple options under $10,000, and with the Air King, you're not locked into that. There are some blues, there are some greens, there are some dial options with the Air King over the years that you can pick up for well under $10,000. However, with looking at watches over the years, you are dipping into vintage territory, and when you're buying any used watch, it's good to know the service history, but it's especially good to know the service history of a watch that is in the vintage category. At this point, I would put that anything before 2000. I know a lot of people will be like, what? But truthfully, anything before 2000 needs to have been serviced in the past, 100% guaranteed. So if you don't know that service history, I would recommend getting with a local watchmaker, maybe sending it back to Rolex to get it serviced up to spec before you wear the watch consistently, because you might have issues in there that you don't know about. You don't want to further them. You don't want to have any problems. That being said, a lot of watches do come sold, serviced, and that's great. If that's the case, you're good to go. Wear it every day. Now, the other Rolex that I would recommend under $10,000 is one that I've actually been considering purchasing myself recently, and that is the Rolex Explorer II, specifically the 16570 model. These can be purchased at the time I'm recording this under $8,000 from very reputable resellers, and if you're looking on the used market, private party, they can even be under $7,000. They are 40 millimeters, they have a 50-hour power reserve, And truly, it's a great option. If you want a Rolex, one of the marquee Rolex models, in my opinion, the Explorer is right up there with those, the Explorer II, and you can get that for under $10,000 with these watches. You've kind of limited yourself a bit under $10,000 where style options go. You've got black, you've got white, and that's about it. But you will get a metal band as well, and you can switch your Explorer II out to another band if you want. However, I love the Explorer II, specifically a white dial Explorer II on a metal band, 16570 reference. Absolutely beautiful watch. What about dress watches though? Well, NOMOS is where we're going for dress watches, specifically the NOMOS Tangente Neomatik 41. As the name implies, it is a 41mm watch. It features a 42-hour power reserve and a sub-seconds complication. All of this can be grabbed for $4,100, which is very impressive because NOMOS makes in-house movements. That's what blows my mind about NOMOS. They provide such amazing watches with in-house movements for not only under $10,000, but for under $5,000. $4,100 is what this watch comes in at, and honestly, you should look at other NOMOSs that are out there as well. The 35mm Tangente is a manual wind watch, and it comes in at just $1,900. Sure, it's 35mm, but 35mm watches wear great on the wrist. They're great dress watches because they fit very well under the cuff, and a manual wind is going to be super thin when compared to an automatic watch, as it doesn't have a rotor in there spinning around. However, for this specific video, we're recommending the Tangente Neomatik 41. Again, that's a 41mm watch, comes in at $4,100, and is an amazing watch with an in-house movement from NOMOS. We haven't discussed any GMT models yet, and that's where the first Tudor on this list comes in, specifically the Tudor Black Bay GMT. This watch has a few different bezel options for you to choose from, including a beautiful Pepsi bezel, which has really GMT Master 2 vibes for me, and there's even a left-handed model if you're looking for a left-handed watch. Tudor has really come into its own over the past few years, and for $4,500, you can get a Black Bay GMT on a metal bracelet. Also, Tudor's quality is right up there with Rolex, its sister company. And as far as specs go, you've got a 41mm case diameter on the Tudor Black Bay GMT. It's got 600 feet of water resistance and a 70-hour power reserve. If you're looking for a GMT, the Tudor Black Bay GMT is amazing. You've got a couple different bezel options for you to choose from, including, like I said, that Pepsi dial that gives me so many Rolex GMT Master 2 vibes. Lastly, we're actually going to be cheating a bit on this list, and instead of recommending a specific watch, we're going to be recommending a family of watches, and that is Grand Seiko's Spring Drive line of watches. From dress watches to dive watches to GMT watches to chronographs, all of them are available with the Spring Drive movement for under $10,000. A lot of them under $9,000 and even under $3,000, depending on what exact kind of watch you're looking for. It's also worth noting that Grand Seiko is known for its wide range of different dials and options when it comes to their watches. For example, they have beautiful blue, green, white, sort of metal flake style dials that you can choose from, and they are truly beautiful. These are available too on chronographs, dress watches, the GMT, any kind of style you want, on any kind of complication you want. It's absolutely amazing, and Grand Seiko is known for these beautiful dials, and that gives you so many options depending on what you're looking for in your watch. However, what is Spring Drive? Why are we recommending the Spring Drive movement and line of watches from Grand Seiko? Well, one, it's affordable. These watches are very affordable, under $10,000. However, Spring Drive itself can have a 10-minute video, but it combines the best of automatic watches and quartz battery-powered watches to create a watch that winds and powers itself based on the movement of your wrist while having the accuracy of a quartz watch, meaning it's down to pinpoint seconds of accuracy. The result is a watch that is super accurate, ticks incredibly smooth, and you don't have to worry about battery replacements and things like that like you do with a quartz watch. It is powered by the movement of your wrist, just like other automatic watches. But nevertheless, that's our list. There's even more watches featured at the article linked in the description down below, so be sure to go check that out if you've not quite found the perfect watch under $10,000 yet. But nevertheless, thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.